welcome to a Backyard Ultra podcast. This is actually the 10th ever episode, so it's a bit of a milestone. Thanks to everyone who's listened so far and sent me feedback and all that type of stuff. And a special thank you to all the guests who have also appeared on the show. Yoon's the guest on this episode. John's got a whole heap of experience in ultra running. He's represented Australia twice in the 24-hour track team, and he was also in the Backyard Ultra Australian team that ran at Miram Wernett. So sit back, relax, and here you go. Okay, g'day John, how you going?
Good, thank you, David. How are you?
Yeah, great, thanks. So I thought I'd just start off by asking, how did your ultra running journey begin?
I think it's pretty much similar to other people, but I started running marathons back in the days, and there's someone basically just mentioned, one of my friends mentioned he ran 100 Ks the year before in the Blue Mountains. That was the North Face 100. Now the UTA, quite famous now, but so he said he's running 100 again. So I've never done anything over 40 Ks till then, but I signed up and I ran up to the line and struggled, but got to finish and I enjoyed it. So yeah.
You mentioned marathons. Were you a fast marathon runner when you were doing the marathons?
No, definitely not. Even till then, I think I was struggling to break 3:30s, 3 hour 30s back then. I only really got past the 3 hour mark just recently. Recently, as in last probably 5-6 years, I guess. Seemed like but yeah, that's it took me a while, like slowly from 4 hours something to the very first one, 4:15, 4:20, I think, for the very first one, to eventually getting to 3:30s, and then eventually 3:15s, and then New York Marathon. So probably about 5 years ago, I cracked like 3 hours, and that was great. That was it took me over 10 years.
Yeah, well done. That's great. Do you still run the odd marathon still, or?
Because of all the interruptions, but I've been thinking, I should. I want to do another one. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I do enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, and because I've been looking at your CV, and you've obviously running a few trail races and ultras for a few years, and then you started running the 24-hour races.
Yes.
And it looks like that's when you really came into your own, and like this. So are they your favorite race format?
Favorite, like you said, I happened to be good at it, maybe, I don't know. I did find a sweet spot in some ways. Yeah. Is it my favorite? I happen to be like stuck in it. I almost can't tend to get it. That's why I say, I'd like to do marathons again and then some of these other events again. But that's what I've been concentrating on for sure. Yes, recently.
Yeah. And I think from what I've seen, you've done over 200 Ks in 24-hour races 4 times.
Yeah.
You've done 6 24-hour races, I think, and you've always done well. What are some tips to doing well in a 24-hour race?
I suppose the preparation is always the key in any race, whether it be a miler, a miler as in 1 miler I'm talking about, 5Ks, 20Ks, marathon. Preparation is a lot. You're probably talking, 6-12 months of solid training to get up to that. But on the day, you're probably talking about,
anything and everything, really.
Yeah. On the day is just the mental side of things. But if I had to point out something, the pacing. Again, same with all the other races as well. But pacing is very important.
Yeah,
it comes into it because it's such a longer race. It's drawn out a little bit more. Even the 5Ks, you can't go out all out first 2Ks. You will blow up even in 5Ks. You still walk and finish. Whereas in 24, when you blow up at 12 hours, it's a long way. So I'm sorry, but yeah, pacing for sure.
Yeah, and you mentioned the mental side of things as well. Like, you must I mean, most ultra runners, I guess, are mentally tough. Did you know that you were like really mentally tough before you started doing this ultra running?
No, I'll sort of think about it, but in the other people, I don't know whether I'm necessarily more mentally stronger than other people, or I'm obviously in this format. I am keen, and there's a motivation to do that.
Yeah.
But then I sort of think of normal people, other people, and say, hey, it's hard to look after a kid. How do you wake up every single day, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., they're waking up and they're doing their job, right? And they're doing the stuff. So are they mentally tough? Are they just don't run? But so I think about it in that way. But yeah, I don't think I'm necessarily mentally tougher than other people. I am definitely keen on this sort of this side of aspect of life of exercises and running and competing to some ways. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my thoughts anyway on that stuff.
You mentioned training for a 24-hour race. I'm really into 24-hour races as well, by the way. So you mentioned when you're training for them, you obviously would go on long runs. What type of distances are you covering in a week leading up to a 24-hour race, and what type of pace are you running when you're training for those type of races?
Yeah. Probably prior to COVID was probably my peaks, or during COVID even. Obviously there was no events then, but looking at around that peaks of 160, 180s.
Yeah.
On the probably I guess maybe the important thing is the base, or the dead average, say over a year, is basically similar to other people. About 100 Ks a week is a dead average, including all the races and all the breaks and whatever. And that seems to be kind of the most people are at. If you look around.
Yeah. And when you do your 24-hour races, do you have a particular aim? Like, are you always aiming for 240 Ks, or does it kind of like depend on how you're feeling on the day?
Yeah, going into it, you have a target. I do. I have a target.
Yeah.
Whether it be a certain, well, look, I'll say I'll have a go at certain age group records and records that are out there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely have a solid target, 240. For example, the last one was I wanted to make it into the team again, the Australian team again, to go to the World Championship in 1 year time.
Yeah.
So it was in that window of 2 years within that World Championship. So 240 was the target. Secondary target on the day was 250. I've never been to 250, so yeah.
Yeah. So running 240s an average pace of 6-minute Ks. When you're training, do you try and pace yourself at that kind of? How long are you running for when you're training?
Sorry, you did mention the pace thing before as well. So essentially, you are trying to. The goal ultimately is to keep that 6-minute K. You're right, absolutely. So you need to be very comfortable at that pace. So your slow runs are generally landing at around that 5-minute Ks,
right?
5:30s.
Yeah.
Just constantly, you can probably run a fair bit with that. Actually, the average pace for 240 Ks is 6-minute Ks, but the toilet breaks, little slow down, or little breaks, whatever that you have, you're probably going around that 5:30 mark.
Yeah.
When you're moving, the moving pace is about 5:20, 5:30s.
Yeah.
So you need to be very comfortable at that pace. Again, like I said, slow runs that you do will be around that 5-minute, maybe a little bit under, at your peak. Maybe even 4:30s, actually 4:30 to 5s. Yeah, will be your cruising pace.
Yeah.
You still do your speed work and what have you. You still need that strength and muscles to take all those pounding over the time. So I still do some intervals. At the start, you might be sharper intervals, like maybe the 400, 800, but generally they'll go longer to K, 2K, 3K, kind of longer. It is an almost tempo run, maybe tempo-ish run, but yeah, generally takes like it gets longer and longer and longer as towards the end of your peak training for those intervals and tempo runs.
Yeah. Are you planning on doing the Coburg 24 next year?
I wasn't going to, but now I'm thinking back again
Yeah.
because I've got a qualifier in early. I think I'm one of the first ones, or maybe Kevin Muller's got one as well. But yeah, and then there are certain other people that are certainly capable. So they'll probably turn up to Coburg.
Yeah.
Just have a run with them. It'll be great. But let's see. We'll see. Yeah. But Coburg and probably mid-year there's a Southern Sydney and a Canberra invitational. So those three races probably would be the key ones over the next year.
Yeah. And the Clint Eastwood, the backyard ultra scene. You were a little bit late onto your first backyard ultra. Like a lot of people, they've been around for 2 or 3 years now, and you ran your first one at the Clint Eastwood, which was just in August. So, did the format appeal to you, or were you just not interested, or what was the reason for a bit of a delay?
It's an interesting format, no matter how you put it.
Yeah,
Especially if you're a runner, then yeah, it's very cleverly done. Everything kind of fits into place. I don't know whether it was by just coincidence or what, but I'm sure a lot of it is very structured and he's thought about it. But other things that come into it is quite interesting too. So, but yeah, I wasn't all that interested at first in actually competing. I knew people were achieving a fantastic results and distances and what have you. So, but I actually just sort of signed up during COVID and it got delayed and delayed. So and then it finally went there. So, and in that sense, I was kind of forced to wait in some ways too. There's a couple in Victoria, but they're quite tough and quite many times of the year as well. So didn't really interest me either. But yeah.
And you did 41 hours in that one too, which it was outstanding and qualified you for the Australian team for the Backyard Ultra too.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a goal?
Sorry, was it?
Was that a goal of yours to make the Australian team?
No, absolutely not. I just was, again, it was like I believe this is actually my very first race in Queensland ever, other than the marathon, like the Gold Coast Marathon. But yeah. I always wanted to go up there, but there was enough sort of races in Victoria and other places that, I never made it up. But yeah, finally signed up, like I said, during COVID. It got delayed and made it up there. And no, I like it was just to have a go, really, literally. I went there with a friend, Nikki and Dave.
Yeah.
Obviously they're quite in there with the running, but yeah, just to have fun and enjoy whatever comes along.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was this world championship or Australian team or how many laps I needed. I had no idea. I really.
But you didn't even know. Okay.
No, it wasn't a target or anything like that at all. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Because it should be noted as well. I'm pretty sure you're the only person to have made 24-hour national team as well as the Backyard Ultra national team, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Obviously, Kevin Muller couldn't make it to the Australian team. He's got 50 odd laps.
So he qualified, but he didn't. He had other engagements, I believe.
Yes. Yeah. I think it transfers very well from 24-hour running into that type of. You can see from around the world the performances being put, like Harvey Lewis, for example.
Yeah.
People like Courtney. They're all there under 24 hours, and then they always do well. So, yeah.
Did you have a crew when you went up there, or?
Basically, Dave Eady came up to help us out, and and a couple of people sort of dropped their heads. The people that I know, they dropped in to help out as well, which all helps.
Yeah, and did you enjoy it? Was it funner than you expected it to be, or how did you like it?
It was an interesting race. Yes, Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Very different to what I'm used to,
Yeah,
obviously. Although, yeah, I love the course. The organizers and the volunteers were fantastic. The other runners, it was a full field. I think 200 plus or 200 people started at the start. There was still more than a handful of people left at halfway, definitely. Um, and yeah, you get to chat with them right and on the way through. Plenty of time for that, and the
yeah,
weather was fantastic. So yeah, what can you? Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
yeah. It's what a lot of people say is that they love the social aspect of backyard ultras, where because you're running with people the whole time, whereas in like a point A to B, you're running on your own for pretty much the whole race.
Yeah, yeah, it could be. Yeah, yeah. In some 100 milers and things like that, it could be 1,000 people. But once it starts spreading out, that's what, yeah, they might be 15 minutes away, like 10, 15 minutes away, but you're moving at the same pace. So you might not see them for 2, 3 hours. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
In this thing, you're
And-
always starting the same time. So
yeah.
yeah.
What did you find the most challenging aspect of the backyard ultra format?
Just same as anyone. The mental side of it, why do you want to go out for another lap? Is that's the question always comes up.
Yeah.
Um, and then ultimately, can you do another lap? It's like, yeah, you probably can. Like, okay, all right. So you go ahead and do another lap.
Yeah.
Um, but then there's a lot of things that comes into your mind, especially when you get to that pointy end and the lap counts go up. You start looking around and like someone like Phil or Ryan or Kevin, they're going to go like 60, 70 laps, right? So it's like, are you prepared to go that far? Is it, like I said, I didn't plan to do whatever laps you go in there. I just went in there to just do my best. But if you start thinking like that already, then you've already kind of lost, really.
Yeah.
That psychologically, even before the start, yeah, all those things come into it, and during. But then you read some of these race reports that some of these people do, and they go through the difficulties as well. If I did one more lap, what could have happened? You just don't know, right?
Yeah.
It's not easy when you start doing when you're talking 300, 400, 500K, you're sort of talking laps and you go, oh, yeah, I did 50 laps, 60 laps, 70 laps, or whatever. But, you're talking 500 kilometers.
Yeah.
For anyone, if you do 300 kilometers walking, even 50 hours just standing still, you'd do it,
Yeah.
Yeah, all those things come through your mind, and yeah, very interesting.
How did you manage the sleep side of things? Because with backyard ultras, with all those regular breaks, you would get tired, and you've got all these opportunities to try and sleep. So, did you sleep, and how did you manage that?
For me, the key is just to stay relaxed as much as possible throughout, right from the start. Try and rest as much as possible from the start as well. Of course, it's hard to sort of actually fall asleep, during daytime and when you're sort of fresh. But I still try to get a shut eye. Just close your eyes and just rest. It's still a rest. I know when I used to be younger, I actually probably could sleep in that 5 minutes. I could probably still nod off, but as I get older and older, it just, I don't know why, it changes and I can't fall asleep at a snap of a finger. I think someone like Phil can, by the sound of it. I've had a quick chat with him.
Yeah.
So that's one of his key, I think, strengths. Obviously he can run on the one side, but the other side is, he can actually sleep and rest very well, very relaxed. So, yeah.
And so, by the sound of things, you didn't get any sleep during that 41 hours, or you were just resting in those breaks.
I think I had a couple of moments where there was like a little nod off. It might be like 5 minutes. Yeah, but I think I was relaxed enough that 40 hours was not too bad. Generally, yeah, like, people can go day and a half, 2 days probably with no sleep.
Yeah.
And now from then on, it gets more difficult. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I did get a little nod off here and there. That's all.
Yeah. Then do you remember what was the what eventually made you finish at the 41 hours?
At the time, I basically had enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had enough. It was, first go. Like I said, I didn't know it was the Australian team or some other, like a certain number that I was going for. Um, Actually, at the time, I think I was going to stop at about 38, something like that. And then Dave said, why don't you even it out at 40 or something, I think. And then I said, oh, yeah, okay, that sounds nice, an even number. So I did 40. And then Yoon, I think, actually came over and said, hey, how about one more lap or something? He encouraged him to go for one more lap. I was like, okay, all right. I'll do one more lap. So that's why, and then 41, and I said, okay, that's enough, and called it a day.
And was it not till after you'd actually finished that you found out about qualifying for the Australian team, was it?
Yeah. And then it was interesting. There was like someone took a snapshot of like a screenshot of Laz, and I think it was Peter chatting, saying, oh yeah, 41, and yeah, may or may not be good enough for this team or that team or whatever. And at that time, you're pretty tight. Didn't register or didn't count. Didn't even think about it. But and then, like, I don't know, was it within a few weeks or something like that? They sort of announced the team, saying, yeah, you're good enough for the top whatever number of people to represent. And at first, I wasn't thinking much of it. I was like, oh, okay, Miramona, pretty tough course. I think actually, I only got in because a couple of people couldn't make it. I was actually like number 18 or something like that. Yes.
Yeah.
So they didn't even register until I got a call from someone saying, from Peter saying, hey, yeah, you might be in the team. What do you think? And then I had to think about it overnight before I actually to say yes. I thought, well, okay, it's still a pretty big deal, and I'll go along, have a go. But even then, I wasn't 100% sort of keen, I suppose, if you want to put it that way.
And did it take you long to make, like, did you decide the next day yes, and you got keen, or what happened? Like, took a few days?
Yeah, and then I started looking into these things, and then okay, it's around the world, all these 15 people from countries, 30, 40, 50 countries or something like that, competing at the same time, including the big one in Tennessee, and like it's a pretty big deal. I thought it's like, yeah, to get an invite is quite a privilege.
Yeah.
That's when I decided, yeah, and then I said, yep, I'll do it. No problems.
Sure.
I'll have a crack.
And what did you learn from the Clint Eastwood that helped you to improve and prepare for that World Champs at Miramona?
It's in some ways it's not that much different to a 24 hours. So we were fairly okay with all the what you call it, tactics or the plans or logistics side of it. You just have more time, so you get more time to think about it, and your body's kind of, I guess, less stressed for that period of time when you're resting. So you can digest and eat and drink whatever you want. Whereas on a 24, you think it's slow, but you're still moving along compared to something like, I suppose that's the same as, compared to a marathon, it's like 24 hours is a long time, and you have time to actually eat, But in a backyard, you're actually sitting down for a little bit thinking, okay, maybe I'll have a pizza or burger or something, next couple of hours, So just trying out all different, that type of stuff. And Actually, one of the main things I was quite surprised, Queensland got quite cold as well. And a lot of these events, it tends to get cold overnight. Maybe it's the time of the year they always have it on. But in Queensland, yeah, in the afternoon, it got reasonably warm enough that you're sweating. When you stop, you're wet all the time. So that you can get cooled down, and then you go again, you get wet, and then you get cooled down again. It's like, that was quite, difficult to manage. Just keeping warm in between is very, very important, especially when it's cold overnight. That was that I had to sort of adjust a little bit and find, I suppose, comfortable gear and what I needed. I'd sort of have to figure out.
Yeah. Well, it would have been good practice if the Clint Eastwood got cold at night, because it was absolutely freezing at night at Miram, weren't it?
Oh, yeah, yes, yeah. Again, like I said, like when you're running and then you stop, you're warm, but even if it's 5 degrees, when you're running, you get warm, you sweat.
Yeah.
But when you stop, you cool down excessively, and then when it's that cold, even with a jacket on, you can't keep warm. In Miram water, I didn't think it would. I knew it was going to get down to single digits, like 3, 4, 5 degrees.
Yeah.
But it felt like, zero, obviously, with all the ice over the cars I saw, and everything was coated in white. All those hills, it looked beautiful during that morning. But yeah, just trying to keep drink hot stuff, just keep the energy up. Try and keep dry as possible. A lot of gear, just blankets. A hot water bottle helps a lot, or helped me a lot.
Yeah.
That got very cold. Very interesting. I hardly ever run in a jacket. Even a down jacket, I think I did a lap in. So yeah.
So. Did you have any goals going into the World Champs?
So for any goals? No, just to push as much as I can. Okay, definitely to go past 41. I knew I could do that.
Yeah.
If I had any sort of goal, 48 was kind of the reference mark for me, at least. And then go get to 48, and then see, what you've got from there, and then Yeah.
Did you go through any because you did 51 hours? Was there a period where it started getting really hard? Because one of the things with backyard ultras is it's easy until it's not. Mm-hmm. What period do you remember that it started not being easy anymore?
For that one, it was quite interesting that I started coming up with a little bit of a little niggle. Okay, like to go back right from the start, just to sort of explain, but I started off with trail shoes. I don't wear much. Big sort of chunky sort of Hoka trail shoes, because I thought we were running in the paddocks. And then that changed. And then they said, okay, we'll only run for a certain number of hours here, maybe 10 hours or something like that. So I said, okay, but it's road, but for whatever hours, shoes the shoes. I'm going to just go out in these shoes. I'm not going to change. I didn't change. And then I started getting little, like a niggle on my foot, around my foot and ankle and things like that. I didn't know what it was for a while. But these things you kind of go, it's only for another couple more hours. I just persisted. But then when they said they were staying out for a little bit longer, I said, I've got to change these shoes or something. I've got to try something at this stage. So I changed my shoes. It came good over the next 10 laps again. But then about 40 odd laps on, I started feeling the same sort of pain in my ankle again, which I don't get normally. And then I could start seeing my laps getting affected.
Time-wise, like you were going slow, is that what you mean?
Yeah, so I had to try a little bit harder to keep up, or I slow down a little bit. And I did a couple of, I think, slower laps around there, around the 50-minute mark or 50-something minute marks.
And were you trying to run a consistent time, or were you varying it depending on circumstances?
Uh, it ended up fairly even,
Yeah,
looking back.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't think I did. It all landed within around that, it wasn't 40, but, the 43s, 42, 43s to maybe the 50 something.
yeah,
But, it'd be like less than handful of runs at 42s, for example, and it'll be less than handful of runs at 55s, for example.
yeah.
Most of it kind of landed in, that 45 plus
Right.
minus.
Because some runners I noticed were using it as a tactic. Like
Mm.
if they wanted a longer break and, for example, to have a shower, they would run a faster lap to give themselves a longer break. Did you? You didn't. You didn't do anything like that.
No, I couldn't. No. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Phil would take off. Geez.
Yeah,
Yeah, 30 something minute laps. It's like, whoa, okay.
yeah,
So I certainly didn't have 30. Well, no, I certainly didn't have 30 something minute lap in me. I wasn't going to have a shower, that's for sure.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I was always aware of like little faster laps will take toll on me after a while. So I kept it fairly even, fairly. I would do like a slightly faster, maybe minute or two. We're talking nothing drastic. If
yeah,
I need to go to the bathroom, something like that, or
yeah.
if I wanted to change clothes or something like that, then yeah, maybe a couple, 2, 3, 4 minutes faster.
Right.
If I wanted to then conserve myself a little bit, then it'll be like in the maybe the 55 range, things like that. But yeah, not too many that I can
Mm.
recall. Yeah.
And when you changed your shoes to the road shoes, I'm guessing they were. Did that help? That stop the
Yeah,
pain?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, I have never had that problem before.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did help straight away. Straight away. Yes.
And you mentioned the course. Were you glad that the course was run on the road and not on a
Yes,
paddock?
absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Yes. And we wouldn't be looking at that sort of laps, obviously, in the paddocks.
Yeah,
Much more difficult.
yeah, it
Some
would
ways
be.
you're going slower and things like that, but I think, yeah, it's been out there sort of once or twice before, not for a race, but just for a practice run.
Right.
But yeah, it's a paddock, yeah.
Sure is. Yeah. And so at the 51 hours, like, do you remember what it was that ended it for you in that race? It was just,
Yeah, like yes. Yeah, but basically because yeah, my lap times are slowing down a little bit. Could I have done another? You probably could have done another lap, you know.
yeah,
But I think that was around that 1 or 2 a.m. mark as well overnight. Um, I don't know who's going to be watching this one, but I didn't. I didn't take the next day off. Of work.
Oh, really?
Okay, if I sort of stop here now, I can still make it to work. Okay. Um, yeah.
Wow.
So all in all, yeah. Again, the other guys were looking strong. We were in pretty good. Look, I was not struggling, but I was starting to feel it at 40 something laps.
Yeah,
Um, how much more can I go? At that stage, we were catching Belgium, and we did catch them. That's why I kept on going.
yeah,
Um, I started thinking, oh, maybe injury, maybe do I need to push? Do I want to push? And then, yeah, we're catching Belgium. We're a couple of laps behind. We had a couple more people at the time, so um, that that kept me going at the time.
mm,
It wasn't just about me at that time. It was like, okay, we can position ourselves to get a bit of lead. Everyone knew Belgium was going to go for 80 plus, right? I knew that. I didn't know 100, but I thought 100 was in the making. But so we needed as many laps as you could. I think all other guys thought the similar as well. That group of people that was left,
mm,
they pulled out some great performances actually. Yeah, yeah. And then once we got to a certain stage, again, all balance of things, I thought, yeah, I've had enough. Yeah.
yeah. So you actually ran the 51 hours, went home, and then worked that
Yeah.
later that
Yes.
day?
Yes. Yes. I got a couple of hours of sleep and then did
Wow.
all the essential work at the very least. And then, yeah.
Oh, wow. um, So that 51 yards you ran, um, that actually, I think, qualified you just above the cutoff mark at that point in time to make it to Bigs next
Yes,
year.
yes,
I think at now you've actually just dropped below that line.
yeah.
Um, are you going to try and run a couple of backyard ultras or try and make it back into that qualifying position?
Again, initially I thought, no, that's how it is. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't, kind of thing. In fact, you don't know whether it's good enough at the time, right?
Yeah,
But when they actually afterwards, because it's a big deal, I suppose, in that time, and they kind of made a like almost like an announcement about it because it was a big race, I guess, or big event around the world, and all the big runners were competing on that day or that weekend. They made an announcement as such saying, hey, this is a top 75 list. And I saw my, I think I was on 75th or something like
yeah,
that. Um, and then I thought, okay, well, if I make it, I make it. If I don't, I don't, kind of thing at the time.
yeah,
But obviously, there's another, I don't know, it might be another 100 races around the world till next August, whatever is the cutoff time is. And these many countries and many good runners, they're going to be going for those laps or cutoff times at the very least. So yeah, we were actually sort of I was having a quick chat with Phil saying, yeah, what do you think will make it to the World Championship or the Tennessee? And he was like, yeah, I'm thinking that to be, I thought maybe 55, 57, something like that to make it in.
yeah,
That's current, I think. Current is like 54, 55, something like that.
yeah,
Phil said, yeah, I think it might be like 60, 65, man. It's like, oh, okay, that's fairly high. But I think that's probably what we're looking at, 60.
yeah,
But you know the target now, so, and you've got 1 year. So I'll see. I haven't decided, but yeah, it sounds interesting enough that I'm
yeah.
thinking about it. Yes.
You might have to, if you do want to go for it, you might have to go to one of the races interstate because the only one in Victoria is the MVP, and that's a pretty tough course. The course record's 41 laps. So if you wanted something flat, you might need to go to WA, I think, to try and qualify.
I saw like those things do come into play.
Yeah,
Um, and obviously you just can't do it every event. Like, oh, I'm going to just go there and do 60 laps. You can't do that, right?
yeah,
Some certain people have to turn up to do that.
yeah, that's true.
And there are enough good people around for sure, for
Mm.
sure. But yeah, that those things sort of start to go, hey, which one is the best one? I love Clint Eastwood. That the course was, yeah, fantastic. Loved it.
Yeah, yeah. And so where does the backyard ultra format sit in your priority now? Like, do you love all different formats the same, or do you have a favorite at the moment? Or what are your goals and plans for 2023, in other words? Have you had a think about that yet?
The 24-hour World Championship, yeah, number one for sure. Yeah, sure. And it has been for a little bit, and will be probably for the next couple more years at least.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't mean the other things don't fit in. Like I said, I think it transfers very easily to these formats. It just depends how long you want to stay out there, really. But yeah, and yeah, Tennessee towards the end of next year. Like I said, if it fits in, then yeah, I'm thinking about it. Let's say yes.
Yeah, it's on your radar.
Yes, on the radar.
Yeah, yeah. And you live in Melbourne, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Where are your favourite running spots around Melbourne?
Just capital city trail. I live fairly close to our city.
Yeah.
So and actually I don't own a car. I get around by public transport or run. I just jog or run or walk. So basically, again, like if I travel anywhere, it's hour and a half to Dandenong Ranges, for example, and that's like a 3-hour return time.
Right.
So in 3 hours, I can run a fair bit, right? So, so Capital City Trail is bread and butter. Yeah, bread and butter.
Yeah, Yeah. Are you on Strava? I'm not sure if I've seen you on Strava before.
Yeah, on Strava, yes. Sort of, I think it's a private account or something, but I know enough people that they'll find me and yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So when I was doing a bit of research, I was actually a bit surprised that because your birth date is listed on the Ultra website as 1971. I couldn't believe it because I thought you looked so much younger than that.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's the Zoom, the the fuzz. I don't know. No, I've been, I guess, lucky.
Yeah.
Still no grey hair, so I'm doing all right. Maybe less stress in my life. I don't stress myself out, but
It's probably a bit of the running as well. Running keeps you young, probably.
yeah. I've burnt a lot on the weekend actually. That doesn't help, but
Yeah.
uh, yeah, trying to keep sun cream face. Maybe that's the secret. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, John, that was really great. So thanks for joining the podcast today. I've really got a lot out of that. So I hope you've enjoyed it.
No worries. Yeah. No, good chat. First
Yeah,
time for a podcast of anything actually for me, but yeah, thanks for the invite and the chat.
yeah, no worries. And hopefully I'll see you in a race. I'll be doing the 24-hour in Coburg.
Okay, yeah, excellent. I'll be down there for sure, I'd say.
Yeah,
Whether it
awesome.
be watching on or crewing someone or running.
Mm.
If I feel like running after Delirious in Feb,
Oh, yeah.
then maybe a 12, maybe a 24. We'll see. We'll see.
Are you doing the 200 or the 100 miler in the Delirious?
The full 200. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Will that
yeah,
be your first 200 miler?
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Oh,
That's one of these ones that were, again, delayed. I think I signed up on the first year of COVID, I think, and then got delayed and delayed.
yeah.
Couldn't make it last minute, literally last minute, like within the week. I was just about to fly, but couldn't make. So this time, surely, yeah, we'll make it there and have a go.
Yeah, those events look awesome. I'd love to do one of those one day.
Oh yeah. I've been years to make it over to Perth. See Shawnee and his friends,
Yeah,
Sean Keisler.
yeah, awesome. All right. Well, enjoy the rest. Are you going to go for a run today, or have you been on one yet?
Just biking. Yes, yeah.
Oh, you,
No running. Probably. I feel like running. I feel almost good, but no, there's definite residual effects from the weekend.
oh,
So bike felt very good actually. So yeah, biking.
yeah, yeah. So you went on a pretty long run yesterday, did you?
No, on the weekend I did the Coast to Cozzy.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I was gonna, yeah, well done. Yeah, you've done it a few times, but yeah, that looked awesome.
Always you kind of, I don't know, you don't even really think about it. I don't think about it leading up to it too much. I'll try not to. 240K is a long way. Think about it too much, it's like
Yeah,
your head in. But yeah, sometimes a couple of years, last 2 years, I didn't make it. I was, yeah, definite FOMO, that's for sure.
yeah, yeah,
Even though they had a tough time, this year had a beautiful weather, the best you could get.
yeah,
So I had a lot of fun, yeah, with the crew as well.
yeah. It looked awesome. I was thinking to myself, I've definitely got to put this on my bucket list. It looked amazing.
Yeah, one of the best races.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you pulled up okay then, by the sound of things. Still a bit sore.
Yeah, the normal residual effects, but yeah, it's a long way, and I struggled a little bit as well towards the second half. So, but everything kind of normal, no
Yeah,
acute pain or anything like that. So, I'm hoping, not that stupid, but hoping to run by end of the week, I guess. Yeah.
yeah. Awesome. All right. I can't believe I forgot about the Coast to Cozzy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, I run around Melbourne a bit too. So if I see you, I'll give you a wave. I work in Docklands, so
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. It's just like
yeah,
3Ks, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your day.
No
Thanks for coming on, and I hope the recovery goes well as well.
Thank you. You have a good one too.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. Bye, John.
Cheers.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, it would be awesome if you could share, comment, like, subscribe, all of that. If you've got any feedback, shoot me a message. Hope you have a great day. See ya.